Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Corey Potter, and this is my top 10 most influential albums. Okay, so let's start. This is in no particular order, so it's not based on best to worst or worst to best. This is just a list of albums that I consider very influential to me as a musician. Of course, this is subject to change, but at the time being, this is pretty much sticking. First off, Opeth, Still Life. Fantastic album. Probably their best in my opinion. Just incredibly written. Next, Dream Theater. 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. It's a double album, so has 2 discs, and it is phenomenal. Like, the first disc has one of their absolute best songs, The Glass Prison, and then their whole second album is broken up into pieces, but it's basically one big song, and it's all really good. The next one on the list is Ramsette, Pure Therapy. Their very first album. Very, very interesting, very strange. Some of it actually sounds like it's out of like a horror-based anime. Sorry, my phone's dropping. Yeah, just really good stuff. Next, Pain of Salvation, Entropia. Very first album for these guys too. A lot of people are like, oh, Remedy Lane. You know what? I found this album to be better. It's more interesting to listen to. I found that Remedy Lane is actually one of their weakest albums. It's just really boring, personally. It's got really good songs on it. It's just, overall, as an album, it's really boring to me. Next on the list, Protest the Hero, Fortress. These guys completely topped themselves when they beat this one. They destroyed their imagery, basically, from Kazaya to Fortress. They blew everyone away with what they could do musically. I didn't think that they would pull off something as brilliant as this album. Definitely worth checking out. These guys are local to me because I live in Toronto, so they're Canadian locals, and you know that just makes me all the more happy because that means the first leg and the last leg of their tours are generally in this city. The next one is Sixth, Death of a Dead Day. I only just recently got into these guys, but they fucking blow me away. Like, it's too bad they're broken up. Like, you know, their singer's left, which reminds me of another band, which I'll get to a little later in the list. But yeah, the singer's left. Like, you know, okay, you guys were doing something amazing and you just break up. That kind of sucks. Next one is Spheric Universe Experience, and the album is Anima. Great stuff. Like, you know, it's just a solid progressive metal album. I thoroughly enjoy it, and very nice technical playing. You can hear a Dream Theater influence in there. No problem with that. I like other people's interpretation on Dream Theater's sound. I always have. It's just a great listen, though. And the coolest thing is the last 2 songs are completely inspired and written based on Final Fantasy VII, which I'm a whore for, so I'm all up on that. Next one, Symphony X, the Mythology Suite, also known as V or 5. That album, that's the album that got me into Symphony X, and it's a doozy. It's a good one. Not as heavy as they would be in their next 2 albums, but definitely more melodic, definitely more interesting, and a crazy well-written album overall. Definitely worth checking out. Next one is Devin Townsend, Ziltoid the Omniscient. Now, I've never really been a huge Devin Townsend fan, but this album it turned the page for me. It made me want to check out more of his stuff. And I've always kind of been like half-assed Strapping Young Lad fan. I really got into their album Alien, but for some reason this album really just hit me really hard with Devin Townsend and what he does on his own. Not that Strapping Young Lad isn't what he does on his own anyways, but this album is just phenomenal. It blows me away every time I listen to it. It's funny as hell. It's serious at the same time, and it's the parts are so hooky, but they still stay so true to underground music that it's just what's not to love. And then the last one is X-Tall, Undeceived. Now, this is the last band, and like I was saying with Sick, it's kind of sad because after their third album, their guitar players left, both of them, and their guitar players are kind of what made the band. But Undeceived is their second album, and it is just phenomenal. It's when they were still tight as fuck, and technical as hell. And this album is timeless for me, just an absolute classic, and a gem of metal. It really is. This album, everything about it, it's just perfect. The two of the best dueling guitar players I've ever heard in metal, personally. And it's just a great listen. You can't really go wrong with it. Now, the funny thing about X-Tall is the fact that they're from Norway, which any really good metalhead will know. It's like the headquarters of all black metal, anti-Christian Satanism and all that jazz. And these guys are Christian. That's the funniest part. You can hear the Christian influence coming through in the lyrics, but you know what? If you can look past the lyrics, which if you're a real music listener, then you should be able to do this. You'll find that they are well worth the listen. It's like, yeah, okay, they have their own beliefs. They're not fucking. We don't have to believe what they believe. That's their belief. Same thing with black metal. Just because you listen to black metal doesn't automatically make you a Satanist. It's just amazing stuff. So definitely check that out. And that concludes my top 10 most influential metal albums. Enjoy that, and I'll be back with more metal in all sorts. Not just metal, though. Rock, and video game music, and anything else that tickles my fancy, which is pretty much anything. So you can expect me back with plenty of suggestions. Here's a random throw-in that will kind of freak you out a bit. Ice Cube, Laugh Now, Cry Later. I think that album is fucking amazing. That's just such a fucking wicked rap album. And if you like rap, go check that out too, because it's really good. Anyways, I'll talk to you all later. Bye.